with some plays. Novak makes a couple great saves, and we did what we need to do to see that thing out. So I was really proud. I felt like it was a pretty mature performance for us, and we haven't seen a ton of those, over the broader season, but we certainly put one together tonight, and the guys have been great inside of this tournament.
And the effort of Garces coming back in, just what do you say about his night back there, paired with Zonka?
Yeah, I thought both of them had very strong games. I thought in the first half, Amiro's just defending is what we know, tracking things down, his one-on-one defending, stepping in and winning balls, using his athleticism and his quickness and all that just to intervene in some of those plays was vintage sort of Emmy when he's at his best. I thought Zonka had a very solid game throughout the course of it, and I thought their partnership was strong tonight. So I was really pleased. I think just Emmy getting back, he's so important to just our group. His physical ability in the back line, I think, brings sort of confidence to everyone, but also his just capacity to make a play, cover other guys in situations, get balls are played in the back line. He tracks them down, and he does give our group the more confidence sometimes to stay a little higher, to close up some of the spaces in midfield that I think in the last game or two have just been really open. He gives us more confidence to be a little tighter in the back there.
Hey, Greg, thank you so much for talking to us, and congratulations on the win. Marco makes one today, and he scores one. Can you talk to us about his impact when seemingly, as the season's winding down here, he seems to be getting stronger, kind of unusual for a guy his age? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such an intelligent and efficient player. He's at his best when the parts around him are in motion and they're moving and making runs and creating activity, because then he has choices and decisions that he can make, and he's excellent. And then you see the execution. I mean, the first goal is just two guys who are just playing the game, right? I mean, I've been saying that a little bit lately about some of our guys that are out there. We have guys sometimes that are just playing a position and a role, and then we have guys who are playing the game. And those two guys were playing the game. That was something out of the park where they just put it in play, slip Marco in, he wraps the ball around into a difficult spot, and it's, thankfully they tried to clear it and it goes in the back of the net. But that's just kind of feeling the game and feeling a moment and turning a situation into a dangerous situation that turns into a goal. So, but his ability to kind of tie things together and find the right people at the right time, show up in possessions to help us to break pressure sometimes, his game awareness and his understanding of the situation, what he needs to do is of high level, which is Marco Royce, so that's not surprising. I thought, again, it's just gritty on the defensive side to try to help, again, keep us together, help lead the defending from the front with Nasi. It was a grind. We went midweek all the way to Miami, played in hot, warm conditions, flew back, game really late. The guys, they had to suffer a little bit, but it was well worth it. I'm pretty sure they'll all say that.
Well worth it indeed. You guys have that semifinal coming up now. Going to face Seattle. Saw Seattle very short time ago on the end of a lopsided loss there. How do you go ahead and motivate this team, or just is the loss by itself all the motivation you need? Thank you.
Yeah, I think, and I said this to the guys after the Seattle game, our intensity level was way too low. I think it was the fourth game in a busy stretch. Not to give excuses, but because there aren't. The reality is we just didn't play at a high enough level to play against a team like Seattle and cause them problems, and didn't play at a high enough intensity level. We weren't sprinting, and we weren't closing, and we weren't running behind, and we had played at a lower level on that day than we had in the games, the cup games leading up to it. So I think first and foremost we have to start off, being ready to really sprint and impose ourselves on the game, be more active, and faster to support each other, quicker to move the ball, running through lines, defending harder, connecting better. Some of the things we did tonight, if we can do that, especially in the first half, if we can do those things, we're gonna give ourselves a real chance in the game and put ourselves in a position to get a result. But if we're moving as slow as we were the other night against them, it's going to be a tough game.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on the win. I have a two-parter on Liga MX. First, on Galaxy's campaign in Leagues Cup, 4 games against Liga MX, unbeaten, knocked off the team leading the Apertura right now, Cruz Azul, a very big team, and 2 routes of other Liga MX opponents. What have you seen from Galaxy in competing with these Mexican opposition? And then at MLS as a whole, now at 4-for-4 tonight against Liga MX, knocked them all out of the tournament. Only MLS teams left. What do you think that says about the league as a whole?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in this tournament, we've been seeing this kind of happen over the last couple of years, is I just think the balance between the two leagues is getting much closer. There are top teams can compete with their top teams, and I think across the board, all of our teams can be competitive against their teams are competitive against our teams. Sometimes, like we did in the first couple of games, we got the better of a couple of teams because we executed really well on the day. We caught them with some different things. I think sometimes our teams are built a little bit different than the teams that they face on a week-to-week basis. When I see those teams, I see a lot of similarities in their teams, but they have different players with different qualities that can do different things on the field. But I see a lot of similarities in terms of the way these teams play the game and what they want to do in terms of their high pressing and getting to man and to be pretty aggressive, their lines being pretty high. You don't see that a lot in MLS. You see a lot more of teams conceding, dropping their lines. Even though they'll press at times, the lines don't typically stay very high. They'll drop a lot earlier. It's harder to get behind teams, MLS teams, than it is, I think, for us to get behind some of these Liga MX teams. And when Joe and Gabe are sprinting and Nasi's running, it helps us to be able to have some space there to do that. And I think you see that. That's one of the things that benefited from us. But there's two. I think the leagues are different, but I think what you're seeing now is that there's a lot of parity amongst the groups. That a team like us that hasn't had a great season can defeat the team that's started off with a great season there. I think there's a lot of parity inside of it. There's other things where they have to play all of these games on the road. I think those are real things for teams. When you start getting to game 4, 5, and so on, being on the road for long stretches of time isn't so easy. So I think that also plays into it for those teams. I think that's a real thing. But I like the tournament because for us, it's seeing these teams is so different than playing the teams that we play inside of our league. It's just a different sort of culture of soccer, and the way that they approach it is, it's different. And so for us, it's a great learning to mature the game in a different way, especially for some of our guys who haven't played in the CONCACAF for very many games.
Greg, what did you see out of Diego Fagundes tonight?
Yeah, I thought, just leader by example out there. He was competing his socks off. There's times where he was going through guys to show some physicality on the game. It's one of the things I challenged our guys. We committed 3 fouls in Miami, and you can't play against the best player in the history of the game and some of his former teammates who are all great players and commit 3 fouls. You have no chance. It's just no physical presence. It's no intensity. So I challenged the guys today for more of that, and I felt like Diego was one of the first ones in that. Obviously, Eddie got himself into a little bit of a quandary there, being physical. That's part of the reason we took him off, where he was on a fine line there. But I felt we were trying to impose ourselves, and I thought Diego was really leading the charge in a lot of that, and leading the competitive spirit for the guys. And then, of course, he helps us to get out of situations. He just has a great feel for time in the game and situational play, and I think those two things really came together for him, that leadership, but also just helping the group see situations and deal with them.
And then 2 injury questions for you on Nasi coming out, and then on Amiro. It seemed like maybe he almost made it through that game, but he was also limping for a good time there too.
Yeah, Nasi, I'm not quite sure. I think it was more adductor related, but I'm not quite sure of the extent. He was pretty quick when the whole situation happened to say that he wasn't going to be okay. Sometimes that can be bad, and sometimes maybe he was rushing a little bit to judgment. I really, honestly, don't have any information yet on it, and we'll probably know more tomorrow. I think with Amiro, I think he'll ultimately be fine. I think it was just aggravated ankle-ish situation there. He kind of, I think, caught the heel or bottom of somebody's foot, and he's been dealing a little bit with some soreness in the ankle, and I think that was kind of an aggravation. It wasn't anything like really new or specific in that regard. So I said something to him after the game, and he said, "I'll be good." So I'll take that. He always says that, by the way. He always says that.
Last question, Justin.
Just one more quick one from me. semifinal offers a chance to get that Champions Cup spot. What would that mean for Galaxy, especially given the season that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important for us. Again, a club like the Galaxy, our expectation is that we should be competing for championships. Obviously, our season has been anything but that. But if we can find an alternative route to get ourselves back into Champions League, I think that puts us back into the type of tournament like Champions League that we want to be in, because I think for us it's an expectation that we need to be there. And I think it's important for guys like Ricky coming back and others, like they came here because they want to play in these types of events, and he'll be coming back, and others, they want to come here because they want to play in these types of tournaments. So it's important for us to do what we need to do to find our way into that event for next year. And the goal is to put ourselves in position to try to win a championship in this tournament, not just to get the Champions League position, but it is something that is on our minds and that we want to achieve.
Thank you so much for your time, Greg. Good luck.
Thanks, everybody.